In 2019, before the worldwide pandemic of the coronavirus, the average in-person attendance of a Major League Baseball or MLB baseball game was 28,317 fans, as reported by the Major League Baseball Statista website. Because the majority of you in here have been affected by the coronavirus, you'll be interested to hear how it affects the world of sports, more specifically baseball. I know about this topic because I was a season ticket holder for the Houston Astros from 2012 to 2019. So I know firsthand how COVID affected the MLB, as well as my extensive research on the topic to help me through it. In this speech, I will inform my audience of the effect of COVID-19 in the MLB, the change in attendance of games, the comfort norm for the players, as well as the backlash of the loss in attendance. The psychological comfort change for the players. Some players might have been more comfortable without thousands of screaming fans. This would be more relevant for rookie players in the league. Maybe it's their first year coming up from high A baseball or even just getting drafted out of high school. This is the same reasoning for spring training, whereas you'll have probably 10% of the fans that you would see at, say, the World Series. Because of this, because being in a new type of league, the lack of fans would help ease them. It would just be a much more subtle approach to entering the largest stage for baseball. Some players might have been uncomfortable with the lack of fans. This would be like veteran players, and if anybody knows anything about baseball, Derek Jeter would be considered a veteran player, a guy that everyone knows the name of. Though he doesn't play now, having been accustomed to a mass amount of fans, it would be weird psychologically for a player to go out there and think, oh wait, I'm not actually hearing anybody say anything to me. They're used to being heckled, they're used to being cheered for, little kids wanting to get their pictures with them. It would just be a weird scenario considering in the 100 of years that baseball's been played at a big level, there's always been fans, and not being able to interact with those fans is a huge part of the game. Momentum of the games could not be expressed by the fans. The only audience that is watching would be on TV. This would eliminate noise factors for stress, and all momentum of the game would have to be felt by the players of the game. So one strike call could change the momentum of the game, and you would have to understand the game of baseball, which if you're at that level of it, you will understand, but people watching on TV wouldn't understand. Because one fan cheers because they understand what's going on, so everyone roars, and next thing you know, momentum of a game has been changed. Now that we've talked about the psychological comfort change for the players, we will now talk about the change in in-game attendance of fans. In 2019, there was an average of 28,317 fans in each MLB ballpark. With this graph that I'm pulling around for you right now, I know it might be backwards and a little confusing to understand, but I can work through it. Major League Baseball Committee has a website called Statista where they track the statistics of every game, and they take averages of every game, every player, anything you could ever think of, they have a statistic for it. So MLB Statista tracks the attendance of every game and forms an end of the year average. So this graph is from 2009 to 2020. If you look right here, this will be the 2009 average attendance all the way to the 2019 average attendance, where we have the 28,317 number. There's not a 2020 number, as you notice, because in 2020, whenever the pandemic hit, there was zero tolerance for any fans to watch in the stadium. The only people allowed in the stadium were players, coaches, as well as people who help run the stadium. The only attendance was allowed virtually. This would be over the radio, TV, podcasts, and simple Twitter updates. A cool fact, however, is season ticket holders would receive a cutout of their bodies to sit in the seats that they would be normally assigned to. And I don't have a picture for it, but imagine a billboard cutout of a person sitting in a seat cheering on the team from away. It was a little funny to see, but it was just a way to say, hey, season ticket holders, we can't reimburse you all of your money, but this is what we can give you. Because I want to say that they went for $200 just to get a billboard cutout of your body right there. The league did get a lot of backlash because of the refusal of fans. Mike Thomas of Sportscasting actually spoke out about how stadiums would use artificial fan noise because of the comfort changes for the players. Through this video, not even a video, just a short sound clip, this is the sound that you would hear in Major League ballparks as their artificial fan noise. This is YouTube. And it sounds like a real crowd noise, which I'm assuming it was recorded through a real crowd, but this would be played through the ballpark's surround sound system and throughout the stadium the entire game, just so there was something going on and it wasn't dead silent. Because I don't know if you've ever stood in a building all by yourself before, but it's really quiet. You could hear yourself think and breathe. It's insanity. Now that we have talked about the change in in-game attendance, we will now talk about the economic change for the lack of fans. The economic backlash of loss in fans was more drastic than you would think. Major League Baseball stated in 2019 that the Atlanta Braves Stadium would accrue $5.4 million per home game in revenue. 2.1 million of this was from fan attendance. Taking into account the fake seats the fans could purchase, this would be about a $2 million loss in revenue per game. So if you multiply that by your 156 games that are played in one major league season, you're looking pretty close. You're over $300 million in loss of revenue. Brandon Koshladin of Fortune says the lack of fans could be beneficial for some stadiums, however. For instance, the Miami Marlins had the lowest average attendance. For teams like this, running a full stadium with little ticket sales could put the club's accounting into a deficit, meaning the amount that it would take to run the stadium at full capacity would be more than it would be to not run it at all and have no fans come in. So if you have 10 fans come into a stadium and it costs $400,000 to run the stadium for a day, those 10 fans that pay $100 per ticket or $1,000, you're still basically not making any money. You're just throwing money down the drain at that point. The MLB as a whole lost money from fans being subjected to viewing games on television. Television networks pay a one lump sum and stream as a mass amount around the world. I have friends in Australia that can watch Major League Baseball games on their networks, friends in Belgium that can watch the MLB games on their TVs. It's just the cheapest way to watch a game. In conclusion, in this speech I have informed my audience of the effect of COVID-19 in the Major League Baseball, the change in attendance of games, the comfort norm for the players, and the economic backlash of the loss in attendance. Knowing how everything else was affected in the world brings us all closer together, as it shows no one was left out in this situation. Somewhere, everywhere, someone was affected by this, whether it be something big or something small. So with my lasting impression, all I can ask is, what do you do that has been affected by COVID? For me, it was baseball.